What's up, Madridistas? Just wanted to let you know that the Managing Madrid podcast is coming to Toronto. And boy, after that performance in Vallecas, do we need some in-person therapy. So if you're in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, we have a big weekend coming up next weekend. We're taking advantage of the international break. We're going to talk about Chabi Ball. You're going to be in a room with other diehard Madridistas, make some friends, meet us, win some prizes. We got swag to give away. We're looking forward to it. If you want to come out and hang out with us in Toronto, talk about Chabi Ball, talk about Real Madrid's season, talk about Real Madrid's history, our fandom, our love for Real Madrid. The link is in the comments. The link is in the show notes. We're also playing some pickup footy on the Friday night. So just register. You got to RSVP. Make sure you got to RSVP because we need to know numbers. So you got to do that by clicking the link and registering. Okay. Without further ado, let's get to tonight's therapy session.
Nice article in the Managing Madrid blog. Wonderful lads that do a great job there. And worth reading about that man there. Karim Benzema needs to rest, and the numbers reveal why.
Times ended up almost looking like a 6-3-1. Some very good writing about that on the Managing Madrid website. First rate podcast as well. Of course, Fede Valverde was a huge part of the equation.
Hello and welcome to the Managing Madrid Podcast. The only good thing to come out of today is that Matt Wiltse is back and Lucas Navarrete is hopping on a post-game podcast. So at least we got some good analysis coming up after Real Madrid's very underwhelming performance in Vallecas. Mind you, a stadium that we haven't won in since 2022. I had circled this as the banana peel of, once you get past these big teams like Juve, Barca, Liverpool, you have this Vallecas trip looming before the international break. But mind you, after we put up a dud in Liverpool, I expected a much better response today, and there's no excuses. I thought we were pretty poor. Matt, Lucas, how are you guys?
Doing fine after such a terrible game.
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I think there's plenty to talk about. You kick us off, Kiyan, because I got plenty of thoughts, so I don't know where you want to start.
Yeah, I mean, I expected it to be a difficult game, but I also thought we just gave them too much respect throughout this game, especially that first half. And I thought there were... So, actually, this is my main talking point to start, I think, is this. I feel like Chabi goes conservative in certain games, and I think we've regressed positionally. And if you look at our press at home, for example, whether it's against Barca or Valencia or take your pick, like who are those teams we played at the beginning of the season, like Marseille, that first half, for example, we're much more aggressive when we go on the front foot and we press and we counter press. And I think in some of these away games, we just go more conservative. Against Liverpool, Chabi decided to have more possession instead of taking risks and sending players into the box. It was the polar opposite of what we did against Barca. And I think that makes our defense suffer too, because the whole philosophy to begin with was our best form of defense is to control and to counter press. Our best chances today in the first half came from counter pressing sequences, but you can't have those if you're not having control in the final third to begin with. A lot of the game plan was everything was going through that Vinicius, especially in that first half. And his line breaking was good. Maybe the first guy, the second guy, but ultimately needed to release it quicker or find that open man quicker. Our final ball was brutal. Like, it was either not, we were looking off Mbappe runs in the first half or just overhitting the passes to him. We had some nice touches and escaping pressure, but nothing really to make it glue together. And in the second half, when I thought finally we were putting numbers in the box and giving Rayo some difficulty and making it less predictable, I also thought positionally, it just didn't make sense. Oftentimes when we need players between the lines in certain zones or in the box, they're not there. And then when we're deeper, we have the ball deep. Those players are now all of a sudden in those positions in the box or around the area, and they're not helping us escape pressure. I think positionally the team has regressed. And I think I would like to see Chabi just treat every opponent the same. Like, he went into that Liverpool game before the game and said, we want to take the game to Liverpool, and it just didn't happen. And it can't be only you're playing a certain way against these teams at home. You need to play the same way all the time, I think. That's an exaggeration. You need to be flexible with your tactics and stuff, of course. But I do think there are certain teams that's just given too much respect, and and they all have something in common. The games you drop points, away games, intensity, intense atmospheres. I just feel like we're not matching it right now.
I don't know why that is happening, but I do see regression from this team as well, and it's been pretty obvious, with El Clásico being an exception. But in the last month, the last few weeks, I haven't had the same fun watching this team as I did earlier in the season. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it. Look, I have my own theories here. I do think that it's very tricky to feed all Bellingham, Vinicius, and Mbappe together, but this is all maybe part of a bigger discussion. But in terms of what went on tonight, and also, considering that we are coming off a very discouraging loss against Liverpool at Anfield, mind you that Liverpool are getting destroyed by Manchester City at this very point in time. So I am seeing regression. I am seeing the same kind of symptoms and worrying issues that were plaguing this team when Ancelotti was in charge a year ago. And definitely Real Madrid have taken a few step backs over the last few weeks, with obviously El Clásico being a huge and big exception, which should also be considered because El Clásico is obviously a very important game. But apart from that, I am seeing no progress in terms of the team implementing Xabi Alonso's ideas or philosophies on the field.
Yeah, I mean, I think the name of this podcast is apt, because I think Alonso is figuring out that it is very, very difficult. It is a completely different atmosphere managing Madrid versus other clubs like Leverkusen. And I'll be honest with you guys, I totally bewildered at what Xabi Alonso is doing with his substitutions, what he's doing with some of his in-game tweaks, or I should say lack of tweaks. Like in the Club World Cup, we saw the team shapeshift. We saw him try different stuff. We'd morph from a back five to a 4-3-3. And we're not seeing any of that. And I don't know, like, what was he doing putting Camavinga at the right wing? Like, he's done this twice now. It worked in the Barcelona game. Yes, it was a great tactic. But that was kind of like a one-time tweak for that game. For Liverpool and for this match, like, that was not the Camavinga at the right wing wasn't the move. And I don't know. I've been really surprised at how late the substitution comes. Like, I think this game was tailor-made for a triple sub of Trent, Ceballos, and Gonzalo. Yeah. Trent, Ceballos, and Gonzalo. Get them in there. Get a target in the box, Kiyan, like you mentioned. Get somebody who can hit that target in the box, and then get somebody who can bring the continuity and keep the ball moving like we need in Ceballos. Like, we just needed to shake something up. It wasn't working. And I don't know. I expected a lot more from Xabi Alonso, like, given his reputation, what he did at Leverkusen. Like, we actually, like, I feel like everybody shits on Real Madrid for never wanting a tactical coach, but, like, this is the one time we kind of been needing to inch that way a little bit more. And he has that in him, and he's not doing it. I don't know why. I think he's finding this dressing room very difficult to manage.
Yeah.
I think the second half, like, let's say the last quarter of the game, sorry, there was pressure being put on Rayo, but it was far too late. My thing was that you should have come with that intensity from the first minute. And I think Rayo eventually would have buckled in that situation. But I think this goes back to, like, we gave them way too much respect. We let them basically. Our transition offense was also very slow. Like if you look back, like, okay, we have a break. All of a sudden, you see every Rayo shirt back defending behind the bum. Like, how did we let them set up shop when we had them in transition with the players we have? I thought our transition offense was very slow too. So again, I think this kind of goes back to, like, it seems like he is overthinking some of these games, in that he wants to be more risk averse and more conservative, and that's, like, something that we always complained about with Carlo. It's like, this squad, these players are too good to not just be imposing themselves on the opponent. So those are the main themes I would say. Now, like we can get into like more of the nitty gritty and certain things you didn't like from this game, or maybe even liked, or like player performances. But if you go back all the way to the starting lineup, by the way, I just wanted to note that the last couple of podcasts, I inadvertently missed super chats. I didn't mean to, and I think part of the problem was I was reading them like all over the place, and I would miss some. So what I'm gonna do now is we're gonna have a super chat segment at the very end, and just read them all at once instead. Just wanted to put that disclaimer out there. So if you send in super chats, I'm not gonna miss them. We'll do it at the end. But the starting lineup, I don't think there were too many surprises. You know, that third attacking role is kind of a variable in this team. Brahim got it today. I was surprised maybe Trent didn't start. I thought, given the fact that he was he came off the bench against Liverpool, for granted, Fede Valverde, who had asked for a sub at Anfield, it seemed. I thought he would have been ready by now. He did eventually come in with Fede leaving the game with a hamstring injury. I will say, like, I hope the Fede thing is just like it's not a serious injury, but it's like pretend serious enough that he doesn't go on international break. That would be the best case scenario in the situation. But Matt, any thoughts on the lineup?
I mean, again, when I saw the lineup, I was a little underwhelmed, to be honest. I go back to my first point. Like, I just expected a little bit more variety in the lineups and in the player use from Xabi Alonso. I guess he's just sticking with 14 to 15 guys that he really, really trusts and he feels like is getting the message. But I maybe a broader just player performance point and something that I think needs to be talked about. Vinicius, like I thought he had a good first half. I thought he tracked back well. I thought we saw him a little bit more effective, but he's still like he lost possession 24 times today. That was more than double any other player. If any other, I feel like he's given a lot more leeway than most. And I feel like he's making decisions like an 18-year-old again. And his final product, his end ball, he just dribbles into pressure. Like, yes, he doesn't have a Benzema to play off of, but I've been frustrated. I think given his status as a player, we have to expect more. And I've been really, really disappointed. Like when you lose possession 24 times, that's 24 times the opposition can go back the other way and transition attack on you. Double the amount of any other player on the pitch. Like that has to be talked about.
I'd like to say something about that, Matt. I mean, generally, like we know this about Vinny's profiles that he's a very high volume, high usage player. So he takes on a lot of players. He fails a lot. He succeeds a lot. But I think you pointed out on Twitter today that he's not as efficient as he once was. If you look at the numbers, right?
Yeah.
And I think like football society, Real Madrid, some kind of one of the cults. I don't know which one. It's one of these cults. We're begging for Mbappe to occupy certain zones, right? And I think when you saw that first half, Mbappe was a ghost, right? He did not touch the ball, in part because he's trying to make those runs, and he just did not get it. And the second half, for him to be involved more, he had to drop out of the box and do link up and go to the left and be involved a little bit more. And I don't know if you guys saw, but Henry and Bale had a segment on the show where they were talking about Vinicius' decision making needs to improve.
Yeah.
I thought there were times because like there's two things happening. One is like you see him cooking three players and you're like, it's actually technically brilliant, like what he's doing. Like that's pretty impressive. But then you're like, well, does he know he has teammates in certain situations? He is a guy that will generally not look for the simple option. So I think it was some of the stuff he was doing was brilliant, but at the same time, there was one last hurdle he often took, which was unnecessary. And I think that's kind of when the decision-making thing comes into play. But mind you, I thought like pretty much everyone was bad today. I mean, Mbappe did nothing. This is now the second game we've not only not scored, but really have not created clear-cut chances. What were the clear-cut chances? Did we have any? I mean,
that one shot inside the six.
In the first
Vinny
half,
took it, but actually
yes.
Arda or Brahim should have just taken it. They were better positioned. That would have been a goal, easy goal.
Yeah. I think that was the only one. So
Yeah,
this is the
that kind
second
of
game
quote unquote own goal that could have been on Rayo on the last corner Real Madrid took.
at the end.
Yeah, at the very end.
And that was finally when we were putting the pressure on them. Rayo's XG today 1.61. Ours was 0.84. Jorge de Frutos and Pathesis with big ones, respectively.
What's that? Those two, yeah, for us.
Here's the
The
Asensio one.
header.
The Asensio header, I guess. Yeah.
Raheem cross was great. Asensio, by the way, that was to me was a bright
Amazing.
spot.
Yeah,
Asensio to me looked like where he was when he was breaking out as like a really promising defender. I thought he
agree.
was really solid today. Really solid. I have a question for you guys. Based on form, should Asensio and Militao be the center back pairing right now? Is there? I'm
Not gonna happen, Bo.
but I'm just asking the question. Not going to happen or what? But should he?
based on today's performance, yes. I think we need a longer sample size with Asensio, but there's no doubt Howson's been, since he's come back from injury, he hasn't been the same.
Yeah, and I'm comfortable enough with Asensio's ball progression. I don't
It's
think
still
he
not.
is.
This is just still not the team issue, in my opinion, though. I mean,
No, the thing is, there's not one team issue. Like, so I don't think there's one. What you're shaking your head? What do you mean? Like, what's the one issue, Lucas?
to me, it's the midfield, man. It's just not working, and it was very obvious to me. The fact that Alonso decided to go with coming on the right wing during that last instance of the game instead of, and I'm pretty vocal about needing to play Arda Güler as a central midfielder more often than not, but today it was pretty obvious that he should have been the one going to the right and then put Ceballos as a central midfielder later in the game for way earlier than Alonso did. So to me, the midfield has been an issue, and the way they've been working offensively for a while, at least on big games. Again, El Clásico is an exception there, but I don't know. It's hard for me to say one particular point. So I don't disagree with you when you say that there's not one specific issue, but I will say that the midfield worries me a little bit more than the defensive line does, even though obviously the defense and Huijsen's performance in particular was pretty terrible against Liverpool.
I would actually agree with that because I mean, even if you look at the defensive line, like, so we all agree. I think Militao's been really good this season. Asensio's playing well. Howson has been all over the place. But generally speaking, when you see like us concede chances or Courtois facing shots, it's because our midfield broke down or our press broke down. So like the preventative measures that we thought would be in place early on the season where our defense was really good. I mean, remember how many conversations we had? Like Xabi has fixed the defense quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
We're not getting tested. Courtois has nothing to do. And that's why I feel this is why I go back to like the idea of regression. And hopefully it's just a blip and not actual regression. But like we seem to have abandoned some of the stuff that was working early this season.
Yeah.
Which was a 4-3-3 high press and suffocating opponents. And
we abandoned that since
why.
Bellingham came back for whatever reason. I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, but the style of and the game plan changed quite dramatically since Bellingham came back. And maybe Alonso doesn't see that game plan that was being implemented before sustainable when Bellingham is on the field as a central midfielder for whatever reason. But it's pretty obvious that since Bellingham came back, the team has changed. It's playing a style pretty dramatically, in my opinion.
But my question is why? Because I don't think he necessitates a schematic change. He can play as an 8. He can play in a 4-3-3, and I mean we went with a 4-3-3 today. But it has less for me to do with the exact formation, but more to do with like your ideology. Because you can take this exact lineup today and bring it high up the field and pin your opponents, but you were more conservative on the ball, on and off the ball.
Yeah. I don't know that it's the schematic change. I think it's the execution on the game plan, and I think it's the profile and personnel you have in these different spots now. So you obviously have Arda deeper, which is great when you're on the ball, but I think in transition, I noticed a couple times today where he'd be going to press with the rest of the team and then lose his runner in midfield, and he just doesn't have he's a super technical, amazing quality player, but he's not that athletic, so he's not going to be able to catch up to the guy that he's trying to chase down. And I saw that happen a couple times today, and I think that's something you lose when you play him deeper in that role. And I think one of the big things we were hoping for with Xabi Alonso and Bellingham was that Xabi Alonso would make Bellingham's position a little bit more, like, really identify his role and make him kind of have almost more discipline around the spaces he occupies on the pitch. And I still feel like he's kind of all over the place. And he's like, when Henry did that show last year, when he talked about how Bellingham was making the runs for Mbappe, like, I still think he's doing that today. And then he's running back.
He has no choice, if you ask me. Like,
he has no. I agree, and that's for me. That's a Xabi Alonso problem. It's not a Bellingham problem. I think it's Xabi Alonso is not. I expected Xabi again. I know I'm kind of attacking him a little. I've been overall pretty happy with a lot of the progression we've seen this year and the things he's done. So I don't want it to be taken out of context, but I think he has. What I have been disappointed in is, like, he's not making the big decisions. He's not making the big calls. It's just, we got to figure that, like, if you want to play these players, you're going to have to make some big calls. Some people are going to have to be sacrificed, and you got to fit the right profiles.
The funny thing is, like, I don't think he has an issue with making big calls, but I don't know if he's making the right big calls. Like he did the whole, like, bench Vinny thing at the beginning of the season. And I think he got a better version of Vinny because of that. But I think, to me, what I'm most disappointed in, Matt, is I think we've seen a lot of good things happen, and then we just didn't see those things again. Like, I would have bet my house, my mortgage, I put my entire kids. I'd be like, yeah, take my kids if this doesn't happen. I would have predicted 100% guarantee that Gonzalo Garcia was going to be a big part of this team.
Yeah.
And he just he's gone. He's gone, man. It's like they massacred my boy. Look how they massacred my boy.
Let's be honest, man. There's no way to play him if both Mbappe and Vinicius are on the field at the same time. It's just that simple.
You can't unless you bench you can't unless you bench one of them or one of them goes to the right wing, which is not happening.
You drop one of Brahim or Arda. Like, I thought at some point in the second half he could have taken out Brahim or Arda, put Mbappe at the 10, put Gonzalo at the 9, and go from there. Like,
I think he prioritized the midfield there with Ceballos. I don't know. Ceballos should have been a priority to me in this game.
I don't take that much issue with Gonzalo Garcia not starting. Like, if you want to have Vinny and Mbappe start and you feel like you can't have all three of them start together, then that's fine to me. Okay, I understand the logic. But for him to disappear completely when there are so many game states where we need them is very puzzling to me. And it's Liverpool. Like, we had 4 wingers. Why? Creating for who? Like, for who?
Yeah, Alexander-Arnold comes in with 10 minutes to go, starts delivering crosses, and nobody's in the box. It makes no sense,
Ultimately, the solution, and you know that Lucas and I have had 5 heated, angry debates about this, that is Bellingham a midfielder or not. Ultimately, I think I would, if it came down to it, I would have to basically just give in to what Lucas is saying and say Bellingham should just play as a striker.
Yeah.
But the thing is, he is doing that, and he's doing this, and he's doing that, and he's doing that, and that. Like, there's a lot on his shoulders, which is back to the last season problem. So, I have a theoretical question for you guys. We think that neither Vinny or Mbappe can play on the right wing. Are you sure that that's true if we tried it? Assuming that one of them would be like, fine, I'll do it just for the sake of the team.
It's so unrealistic of an argument.
I know, but just pretend it is. Like, pretend that would happen. Like, is it?
Both should be able to. Why not?
We've seen them go to the right wing throughout games and, like, do well there, like in certain game states. But as, like, an actual right winger, would it work?
Why not? I mean, the thing is, teams in modern football tend to go away from traditional wingers, like right-footed wingers on the right wing. It's always inverted wingers for in modern football, so it's kind of maybe tough to, and also kind of tougher when you have Alexander Arnold and Valverde as your right backs. Some overlap there because there wouldn't be so much space. But I think it would work better than what's being deployed on the field right now. I guess if you put Mbappe on the left, Bellingham as a striker, and then Vinicius on the right wing, I think I would give that a try, a shot to see if it works for sure.
I actually like Mbappe on the right. Like, think about the moment he chopped up Pep Chavaria today when he went back and forth, back and forth. That was coming from the right wing. He did that too. One of the Champions League games, he did that as well.
I mean, earlier this season, I forget that game where he won the penalty from the right.
Yeah, that's
and
the
he
one
was,
I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and obviously he played there when he was 18 for France in the World Cup and when they won the World Cup. So he can do it. I think it would be perfect for scenarios where you're going for a win. Like last 10 minutes today, if we really wanted to go for it, throw on Gonzalo, put Arda on Mbappe on the right, Vinny on the left, and let's see what we can do.
So the reason we're having this conversation is not because we're saying, just in case like people misinterpret it, not because we think Vinny and Mbappe are at their best on the right wing, but because if both of these guys play better with a person in the box to play off of, and neither of them are at their best when they don't have that figure, why not just try it? We know, I don't know if Xabi Alonso listens to the podcast or not, but I know for a fact Jude Bellingham listens to the podcast. Jude, I'm going to ask you for a favor. Shout out to you. We love you. Just take Xabi aside, and we won't take credit for the idea. You just say, hey, Xabi, I've been thinking, I think we can try this and put Mbappe on the right, Vinny on the left.
Not gonna happen, bro.
Lucas is just shoots down everything I say.
Neither of them is going to sacrifice that much to play on the right, man. It's just that simple to me. It's just managing egos, and this is Real Madrid all over again, managing stars and all that. And in theory, it should work. On paper, it should work. At the end of the day, this is two big stars, two big players who don't want to sacrifice and play as right wingers because, that's kind of not the greatest spot for them to play, really, in terms of their individual stats, their individual performances. They would see that as sacrificing something for the sake of the team, and I don't think they'll ever agree to that happening.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's really the same issues we've been talking about over and over and over again, right? We're trying to shoehorn players in that don't complement each other. These profiles do not complement each other. Yep. And that's the reality. Like, as soon as the club accepts that and takes action on that, then we can move forward and build a true team. But as long as we try to force all these different profiles of players that don't mesh, we're going to keep having these conversations.
Yeah, I agree. The team building in that regard is what makes no sense. And Matt, we talked about this last season with, the Mbappe and Vinicius partnership being somewhat of an issue in terms of fit and how they complement each other and all that. But when you add Bellingham to the equation, it becomes even trickier, really. You take one of the three players out and it can work. But if all three of them coexist on the field, the fit becomes really, really tricky, in my opinion.
But the thing is, Lucas, actually, it should be the opposite because Bellingham should be the cheat code in this situation. If you're not having anyone as a target and Bellingham's not on the field, then you literally have no one. But Bellingham should solve that problem in a lot of ways.
But I think the problem is that you're not getting the best out of Bellingham. Like, okay, if you put him as one of the three attackers, then you have to put him on the right. And you're not going to get the best out of Bellingham on the right. So then if you want to keep all three, you have to put them in the central, then you lose a body in midfield. And that's been the continued problem that we have. So I think, again, it all comes down to the profile players. And if you want to maximize their attributes and maximize the best of these guys' potential, I think Lucas is right. I think you can only have two of the three. I don't think you can have all three. And I think it's Bellingham plus one other, in my opinion.
I don't know. To me, it doesn't change much because Bellingham will just play as an 8. Like that Jude is an 8. Like I don't know why this
But
is so
so I
difficult.
I guess I agree that Jude can play as an
I
8.
agree
But
that he's
all
an
of his
attacking
coaches,
8, but he's an 8.
No, let Matt finish.
Ancelotti,
Matt was getting somewhere.
I'll
yeah,
take both of
and
you on. I'm okay. Look, I don't
well,
need any help.
no. Let me. I agree that Jude can play as an 8, but all of his coaches seem to insist on playing him as a 10. Ancelotti, now Xabi Alonso, and now Tuchel came out this week in his press conference and said Jude is a number 10, and we're going to play him as a number 10, and we want him to score goals.
Sure.
So
But
all 3 of these elite level coaches are calling him a number 10, and so that's where I'm like, okay, maybe they don't see him being able to play that role anymore, or don't think it maximizes his attributes and don't want to play him there.
And hold on.
I get it, but
And just very quick. Even when he's deployed as a number 8, his tendency is to play as a number 10. And he acts as a number 10. Even when on paper, on the team sheet, on the game plan, you're going to play central midfielder. You're going to be the team.
Then why is he like the last man back with a flying slide tackle often?
Sure.
Why is he
in
dropping
terms of
deep to escape pressure?
in terms of work rate and transition, defensive opportunities, and all that, fine. Offensively, he doesn't act as a pure number 8, bro.
That's
he
fine.
just doesn't.
But I would rather him be attacking those zones anyway. So whether he's an 8 or a 10, today he wasn't deployed as a 10. We had a 4-3-3 today.
Yeah.
It was Camavinga at the base, Goulet
Yeah.
and Jude, and Goulet a little bit deeper than Jude. I'm like, this is not. I mean, we're probably not disagreeing as much as you think. My point is that Jude returning to the lineup should not make the team regress.
I know, but it's what's happening.
Doesn't make-
We're all seeing it.
Yeah, but it's fundamentally the problem is because we're not playing. Listen, if
I agree, it's not because of Bellingham. I don't want to get there.
No,
It's
I know
not
that's
because
not what
of-
you're saying. It's the
it's not
same
what I'm
reason we're
saying.
not blaming Mbappe or Vinicius either.
Exactly.
We're blaming the sum of the parts and the
Exactly.
the way the
Absolutely.
puzzle pieces fit. I
Yeah.
get that. You know, it's funny because when I was listening to Gareth Bale speak, I was like, if our right winger was Bale, it would solve the problem.
Sure.
If our right winger was a behemoth who could get on the end of things, like if it was instead of Masantuono Bale, if it was instead of Brahim Bale, it would solve everything.
Sure.
But we don't. And Lucas and I were talking about this, but a couple days ago, Matt. But that I just don't know. Like sometimes we have to like reflect on the BBC era and just be like, how is it possible to have such a perfect front three players who can do everything inside the box, outside the box, defend, and be an aerial threat? It was such a cheat code to have those. And this is just different profiles now. Look,
I will say though, Kiyan, just very
Yeah.
quickly, I'm not entirely sure that Tchouaméni, Bellingham, Goulet, a pure right winger, Vinicius and Mbappe lineup would be enough against elite opposition. I think you would need a stronger midfield in such context. But anyway, yeah, your point.
which
stands
is why Xabi probably went for the 4-4-2 against Barca, and
Sure,
it worked.
It worked. Yeah.
I thought it was a great performance. I also want to point out that Barca suck ass this season, and
Yeah.
I'm not even on a. I'm
And
very
they were missing a
unapologetic
bunch of
about that.
players too. Yep.
And they
Yeah.
just even if Rafinha came back, they still suck. I'm telling you, these guys are just everybody knows how to beat their press now and their
Yeah.
high line. And quite frankly, not that it's any consolation or pat of the back, but Rayo cooked them way worse than they did us today. But I do think that no matter how much we theorize and come up with like we can do this or that, Xabi has pieces that he can figure out, and Gonzalo Garcia is on the bench. But this goes back to the point, like if what Matt was saying, the big decisions. If Vinny
Yeah.
and Mbappe have to play, then what are you gonna do? And I'll go back to saying this. I think in 95% of games it works.
Sure.
But then there are, if you want to go to the next level against the elite teams, then it's not going to work. But I think also Lucas makes a great point. It's not just the offense. Like we have to be better offensively in the final third, but we're also not controlling games in midfield like we should be. Where that has regressed too. I think positionally we've regressed a little bit, and I hope that Xabi goes back to some of the stuff that was working earlier this season.
But everyone has regressed, really. It's you take a look at the entire squad, with the exception of maybe Militao
Courtois, Militao,
and Courtois.
Fede
Obviously,
has been
Pere
good, I
has been
think.
good on the right back. But you take a look at Huijsen, you take a look at Carreras.
Carreras is still mostly okay to me.
I'm not as excited about Carreras as I was before the game at the Metropolitano. I think he's regressed a little bit after that one. Maybe kind of a confidence thing for him, but I'm not as excited about him.
And if you're, I mean, the point you guys are making is, look, the team has regressed. A lot of players are seeing a dip in form, and when that happens, like when it's more than just, hey, a few collective guys are underperforming, that's a coach issue for me. Like
Sure.
that's a bigger problem. And Kiyan, to your point, like I think he's got the tools. Like there are other tools available to him that he's not using. And I think that's why, and when not just us, but like obviously the Real Madrid fan base can be an uproar pretty quickly and consistently, but like sometimes there is reason for that. And I think the reason here is like, hey, we have other players that can be used. Why aren't they being used? And I think that's where the frustration sets in, because Xabi, you were the guy that was supposed to bring change. You were the guy that wasn't supposed to do exactly what Ancelotti did, and we're seeing more of the same.
Like at this point, I think the team should go to right now when Alexander Arnold is ready to start. I think the team should go to a diamond with Chouameni/Camavinga. I don't care. Guller and Valverde in the midfield, and then Bellingham playing as a 10 with freedom. Vinicius and Mbappe as the strikers. I realize that the team might lack some width, and that Vinicius' tendency will be to probably play as a left winger, but that would also give Alexander Arnold a lot of room to create havoc on offense as he likes. I think the team should try the diamond, really. I think that's the only way you can feed all Mbappe, Vinicius, and Bellingham on the field, because the right wing thing in a 4-3-3, I don't see it. I think the diamond, they would be happier, all three of them, with that kind of role. Maybe Vinicius again. Oh, I want to play on the left wing and all that, but I think he would kind of be willing to play in that spot. So why not try the diamond? We'll see.
He would naturally go to the left even in a 4-4-2 anyway. But
Yeah.
the width on the right side in that situation would have to be Fede and not Camavinga on the right wing, I think.
Sure. Fede, I mentioned Tchouaméni, Fede, and Guller, and
Right.
then Alexander Arnold going relentlessly on
I mean, that's
offense.
that to me is probably the best solution if all these guys have to play, because Fede can easily push on the right wing, and he's smart enough to hover between right CM and right winger and to know when to change with Trent. That what Lucas proposed is the best, most realistic scenario.
And I mean, and I think be able to morph in game to like a 3-5-2, just like we did in the Club World Cup. And so if you need to put a few more bodies in the back line or in the midfield, you have that availability. Drop Tchouaméni deeper, go 3-5-2. Like I think we need to like there's things we can do and we're not doing them. And that's where the issues are coming up here.
Yeah, the 4-3-3 with this current roster and this current undroppable players makes no sense to me, and it goes back to the whole Ancelotti era, Ancelotti ball. So again, I will be advocating for the diamond to be Real Madrid system going forward. Right now, with Alexander Arnold kind of ready to be starting again, I think that will also increase Alexander Arnold's influence and impact on the squad. So I think he will be comfortable with that kind of role. I think it's really the way to go and the most obvious adjustment Alonso can make at this point.
And we need to find true impact substitutions. I mean, look, Rodrigo's a talented player, but he's not an impact substitution. He hasn't scored a goal from substitution
not in 2025 anyway.
250 days since he last scored.
That's not a high. We need like a guy that I mean, I always dream about the Guti set we used to do back in the day. Like he would just transform games. We don't have somebody who brings that forward. We have no one that brings a spark off the bench right now. But I think we have tools. I think we have Gonzalo, we have Endrick, we have Ceballos. Like these guys need to be coming in earlier, and they need to be given more confidence, more game time. And I think we would have sparks off the bench. I don't think it's for lack of players. I just think it's for lack of use.
It's very predictable at the moment, even with the subs. Yeah. I think probably the worst thing, guys, to come out of today, beyond all the things we just mentioned, is that not enough people are going to moji-mates.com and using code MM40OFF. Guys, if you haven't taken advantage of it yet, today's the last possible day you can take advantage of 40% discount over on moji-mates.com. That's moji-mates.com. They got lineups. Look at this. Moji Mates is solving our problems. putting out lineups now on shirts. But they got so much new stuff today and like cool jackets. And my favorite stuff is that they have a Raul collection now. And you can see a ton of vintage Raul Gonzalez swag. Go to moji-mates.com. Use code MM40 off. Today, November 9th, is the last day for 40% off. What are you guys doing? How are you guys doing for time?
Running short at the moment.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if we can kind of get to the super chats and give him a
All
few
right.
minutes, it'll be ideal.
We're gonna start. We're doing the super chat segment now, and you guys just go whenever you have to go, and then I can just keep continuing. All right. BR says Trent's free kicks when there's no GG or Endrick made 0 sense.
Hard to disagree.
Did he have I remember one in swinging free kick he had.
Yeah, very high. He lobbed it like a lot.
Yeah, he didn't have the
Made
right
no
weight on
sense.
it for a header.
Yeah.
I think it might have been the intention was to get it to the far post for a redirect to the near post, maybe. Relic 05 says we are too compact, man. Makes it difficult to create, and opposition can press us easy. Also, I agree. Club World Cup Chabby ball has regressed.
It's just the truth. The compact thing I kind of disagree with. You want to be a compact team in order to defend more efficiently and all that, but in terms of the team regressing a lot, it's obvious, really. It's just hard to disagree with that.
And Corjoti Bordeloy says Man City versus Liverpool today just shows the importance of box presence. Haaland is giving them all sorts of problems. GG not playing and not putting Jude in the box is tactically puzzling. We don't need a right wing. Just get a target.
I would say that Gonzalo Garcia is not Haaland, but yeah.
No, but you're not signing anyone who's Haaland. But what's the score of that game right now, by the way?
3-0, sir, I think.
3-0? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Someone had this thing about needing a presence in the box and not playing GG, and one of the common rebuttals was, well, Man City didn't have a 9 for years. And I was like, just watch Man City play without a 9, see how they do it. It's not like us. They got tons of movement. They got players flooding the box with or without a 9. So if you don't want to play a 9 because Man City is your dream blueprint, go for it. But you got to play differently than this.
Yeah.
Jeff Soa says, is Xabi confused about the right wing? The gaps were insane. Same as Anfield. What's your solution? And why is it not Brahim? Hashtag end the therapy sessions. Crying emoji.
I disagree. The 4-3-3 is kind of lazy, and if my solution is the diamond, and if it weren't for the diamond, I think Ceballos can have some kind of role, at least in this context.
It's definitely the one variable that Xabi doesn't have figured out yet. One of a few, but that's the big one where it's like you never know who's going to start there. So he's got to figure that out. And by the way, thoughts on Brahim today? I thought he was solid first half. Second half, he was worse. I thought the first half, he had that great cross to Asensio.
Yeah.
He had a couple really good counter-pressing sequences that led to good chances, but he just kind of regressed in the second half. Adden Aesthetics says Mbappe can play as a right wing / right forward. He played that role in Monaco and France. He can play across the whole attack.
He can play there. On paper, everyone can play there, I guess. He's not going to play there when he's been carrying the team for the first half of this season, I don't think. I would give up on that option, even like considering that option.
It should be like an option for when we're chasing games, last 10 minutes, or play 2 up front and do a 4-4-2. Put an actual right winger on there. I don't know who at this point. Maybe Fede, and then put Mbappe and Gonzalo in the box.
So, I'm surprised that hasn't happened at a certain game state, like off the bench.
Yeah.
Xabi has this weird thing, I think, where he's profiled Gonzalo Garcia and Mbappe into one category, and that's why Gonzalo Garcia isn't playing, because Mbappe is playing.
The one game Gonzalo Garcia started, didn't Mbappe? Mbappe started at the 10.
Which game
Gonzalo
was that?
didn't play well, but it was the one game at the Santiago Bernabeu. I think it was Maybe
We did it against PSG in the Club World Cup, which was a
he
disaster.
started one game in La Liga this season. I forget what
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
Started with Mbappe.
Yeah, you're right. It was at home. I can't remember against who.
Yeah.
Crystal D. Oh no, sorry, we missed. Yeah, this one. Crystal D says, I don't understand why Xabi said Trent was ready and now he's saying he needs more time after the game. Where is Xabi's hesitation with using Trent? He actually answered a question about this after the game. He said Fede Valverde was fine, which is news about his injury. And Trent needs time after his injury, and he'll be able to prepare during the international break. So my guess is he's just not ready to start games, Crystal, which, logically speaking, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
I also don't know if he would have appeared in Anfield if Fede hadn't had that discomfort either. Also, why is Fede having discomfort 2 games in a row and we're saying he's not injured? Can we at least diagnose him with an injury officially so he doesn't go on an international break?
Yeah.
FG says Gonzalo needs to be used like Joselu. Come on late, move Mbappe to the right. Xabi also never rests Mbappe. He started every game, club and country. I think this is a fair criticism. There was that game where we were up 3-0 against Valencia and Mbappe played until minute 85 before Anfield. And then also just want to comment Mbappe to the right because Lucas said it will never happen. And he's probably right. But, part of me is like, we've asked him to adapt this much. He's playing in the middle. He doesn't get his left wing. Can we just try it? Just try it. As Matt said, off the last 20 minutes of the game, maybe even. We're counting on you, Jude Bellingham. Concept says no need of a Bale. Need a pure right winger. Why are we still trying to fit CAMs at right wing? Odegaard, Brahim, Arda, Franco. Adding another left wing when we need a striker is such a mess.
Yeah,
I suppose
it's the profile.
Yeah. Who is our most pure right winger? Massantuono or Rodrigo?
Rodrigo is not a pure right winger, if you ask me. So
No, but as pure as we have.
yeah, I guess
You're
Mastantuono or Hendrik would be. I think Hendrik might be an option there even, but yeah.
I agree.
Sheikh Hatiri says GG isn't a 9. He played left wing for Castilla. He moved to 9 and didn't score for 3 months until he moved back to the left wing.
Well, he played as a 9 against the elite opposition in the Club World Cup and did just fine. So
He played as a 9
not-
for Spain U21, was scoring goals as well.
Not only that, but he also clearly can play as a 9, even if
Yeah.
he started playing left wing at Castilla. Guys,
And what we
gentlemen, do you
need from a 9, one other thing, what we need from a 9 is a target, man. Like somebody just to play off of, which he did so well at the Club World
Yeah.
Cup.
yeah.
I'm 100% certain we missed stuff, but I don't know. I know you guys have to go too, but
I do, yeah.
we did highlight that Asensio was one of the bright spots. We talked about Vinny. I thought Goulet was good, all things considered. I think there's one where I think he should have passed it earlier in the second half. But overall, I think he dropped deep to help escape pressure. He had some great touches in and around the box. Got some link up play with Jude. Camavinga was a mixed bag. I thought he was just too soft on the ball on a couple occasions and too loose. I don't know, just there are certain moments where his head wasn't there. And I don't know why we abandoned high octane pressing football. I don't get what's going on there. So, concluding thoughts, gentlemen?
Just looking forward to the break, really, and see if the team can regroup after it. I think it's a much-needed break. See if some players get healthy. Tchouaméni, Alexander-Arnold gets healthier. Valverde recovers from those physical problems, and see where this goes after the break.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, we got some big games. I mean, you see City smashing Liverpool right now. I mean, we've got City in December, so.
City in December. I have a prediction. I think in that game, because it's at home, Xabi and the team will bring their A game. I don't know. It's just weird. It goes back to these away games intensity. We just can't match it for some reason. Anyways, hope you guys enjoy the international break. Drink the Kool-Aid over the next couple of weeks. Delude yourself into thinking Real Madrid are going to be fine, and then we'll come back and reconvene for more therapy sessions after the international break. Lucas, you're going to do Madrid mornings for members tomorrow?
Yeah, we'll do.
That will be accessed over on patreon.com/managing Madrid, or you can simply hit join on the memberships tab of this YouTube channel. And we'll see you guys Friday night as well in Toronto for some pickup footy. And then again on Sunday for an in-person podcast in Toronto. Again, link is in the comments. Link is in the show notes. See you guys there. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Lucas.
Thank you, man.
Great chatting. Peace out.
Sir.